Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Mike Drotis, Bible teacher and preacher, and you've tuned into my YouTube channel, Solving the Prophetic Puzzle. I like to watch YouTube videos as well. And recently I was watching a YouTube video of a guy that I follow, a guy that I've subscribed to. He does a great job, and he was talking about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I thought this is going to be good. I respect this person. I think he does awesome jobs. He has video clips, movie clips, music. He has all kinds of bells and whistles that really make his videos pop and excitement. And he preaches and teaches good as well. He began, though, as he's beginning to talk about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And the first thing off the bat, he starts talking about the white horse. And the white horse is the Antichrist. He says the white horse is the Antichrist. He explains how the white horse rider is trying to represent Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ comes in the last day at the Battle of Armageddon on a white horse. He explains that this guy is trying to imitate Jesus, and he comes at the beginning of the tribulation. He comes at the beginning of the 7 years, and he is the first thing that comes on the scene. He explains that he carries a bow instead of a sword, where Jesus Christ is coming back with a sword. He's explained how this Antichrist is coming back carrying a bow. And I've heard all this before. I've heard this for years, and I don't agree with it, but I still listened, and I listened to what he had to say about the red horse and the black horse and the pale horse, and it was really good. I didn't get upset at him. I didn't get mad at him. I didn't insult him. I didn't post on his channel and insult his Bible knowledge and tell him he should read his Bible because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I didn't say that I disagreed with his point of view, and because we are in disagreement, he must be a false teacher. I didn't say any of that. We just don't see the same way. We don't see the rider on the white horse as the same thing. But a lot of people do. A lot of people look at the rider on the white horse and they will adamantly declare that's the Antichrist. And they'll fight you over it. And they'll stand by that. They don't even know why they believe it. They'll just stand by it because that's how it's always been. The rider on the white horse is the Antichrist. It even says in my Bible, over the Revelation chapter 6, the first seal, it says, now this is not in the Bible, it's just their comment on it. It says the first seal, the conqueror. So it's common thought that the rider on the white horse is the Antichrist. And I understand that. And I know why people defend that and stand by that and will fight you for it. I know exactly why they do. I get it. But take a look at the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for a minute. Take a look at all 4 of them. You've got the red horse, which is war, the black horse, which is hyperinflation or economic chaos, and you've got the pale horse, which is death. These are all events. And then you have the white horse that they say is a person. It doesn't go along with the theme of things. It would be like if I were to set out in front of you on a table 4 different objects. And the first one would be an apple, the second one would be a banana, the third one would be an orange, and the fourth one would be a red fire truck. And I would say, which one doesn't go with the rest of these? You would say, obviously, well, the red fire truck. It's not a fruit. It's different than the rest. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I've explained in other videos, that the rider on the white horse is not a person. It's not a persona. You're looking for the Antichrist. And I understand that. And that's why when it unnerves people, when I begin to tell people that the seals are being opened right now, and that the white horse seal has been opened. It was opened somewhere around February 22nd, 2019. Let's read this. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. The white horse is not the Antichrist. Look at what this rider was given. A crown, a corona. It is the corona crown. that was given to him, that this rider then began to take all over the world. You know exactly what I'm talking about. This virus, this disease, this pandemic that was placed upon the world in February of 2019, and it began to shut down nations. It began to destroy many people, killing many people. This virus of the crown that went forward, this rider on the white horse shut down nations, shut down governments, destroyed economies, ruined small businesses. And he went forward to conquer, and he continued to conquer. He continued to do it, and he's still doing this today. This rider on the white horse had a bow. A bow shoots things. A bow shoots things. And this rider on the white horse wants to shoot arrows. He wants to shoot arrows. This rider on the white horse is clothed in white, cloaked in white. Reminds me of medical workers and physicians who wear white coats, or even in some countries where they wear these white Tyvek suits as they're cleaning and preventing things from spreading. They wear these white suits, or as some people wore when I was in the airport at Lima, Peru on February 22nd, 2019. I looked around and I saw everybody was wearing these white surgical masks, and I told my friend, we had just got done with a great missionary campaign. And I told my friend, what is going on? Why are these people wearing these masks? And he said, I think it's that virus that they were talking about. I think it's that sickness that they were talking about. That's when it began. Somewhere in January, February of 2019, the first seal was opened, and the rider on the white horse is riding. Even today, he's riding. The second horse, the red horse. I agree with the other guy that was preaching on his YouTube channel. The red horse is war. War is represented by the red horse. On February 22nd, isn't it interesting? It's the same day almost, only 2 years later. February 22nd, 2022, Russia invades a neighbor. Russia runs over the border and begins a war. And now we have nations fighting proxy wars behind the scenes. We have wars and rumors of wars. We have other nations looking at other countries, thinking maybe I should take them over. We have people talking about nuclear war. Is it possible to detonate small nuclear bombs? Can we drop biological warfare? What can we do, and how can we get away with it? We're seeing a spirit of war. We're seeing people groups come against people groups. We're seeing kingdoms come against kingdoms. This red horse is riding, and you can bet that there will be an escalation of wars and rumors of wars all the way up to the Battle of Armageddon. We're seeing this happen. The next seal is the black horse. The black horse is soon coming. I say within 6 months, we'll see economic collapse, economic failure, economic turmoil. We'll see inflation, not just inflation. We're seeing that now. We will see hyperinflation. The black horse rider says, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. Wheat and barley harvests are short. There are shortages. There will be scarcities. We're running right into this. We're going forward right towards this black horse as he's holding the scales balanced in his hand of commerce. The fourth seal will come after the third seal. The fourth horse rider is the pale horse rider. Probably the most scariest of all, or the worst of all. It says in verse 7 of Revelation chapter 6, when he opened the fourth seal, I heard a voice of the four living creatures say, come and see. So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death. And Hades followed him, and power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill, with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beast of the earth. Now some would say, what, are the beasts going to rise up and start killing people? I don't think so, but many plagues, many diseases come from beasts and animals. And rats and things like that. This pale horse will have power over a fourth of the earth to kill. And if you place the seal as the Antichrist, the first seal as the Antichrist, then you are pushing everything off into the future. If you decide to go with that line of thought, that Oh, no. You're way off base here, brother. The first seal is the Antichrist. And guess what? Since the Antichrist isn't here, then everything has been pushed off to the future. Your line of thought is this. Your worldview is this. Nothing is happening yet. It's all in the future. The first seal hasn't even been opened yet. The Antichrist is not here. You are not really looking up. You're looking for the Antichrist. And since he is not here, you think everything is okay. We don't need to look for the Antichrist. Daniel 9:27 tells us exactly when he comes on the scene and begins the 7-year period, known as the 70th week, or as some people like to say, known as the 7-year tribulation period. Daniel 9:27 tells us exactly when that's going to happen. And I'll do another teaching on that in the near future. We know the midpoint from Daniel as well. We know the exact day. We can count off the days and know the exact day that's the midpoint for this 70th week. Daniel tells us that. But if we are seeing the seals open now, then it changes everything. And this is what disturbs people. If we are seeing seals open now, it changes everything because we know what the sequence is. First the white horse, then the red horse, then the black horse, then the pale horse, then the cry of the martyrs, then Revelation 6 seal happens. Oh, we will get into a sequence that cannot be stopped at that point in time. It can't be stopped now, but you will be wrapped up into the sequence, and that unnerves people. I had a vision. Actually, I had a vision right before I did this video. I had a vision. I was seeing the city of Rome with all the great buildings, and the Colosseum was there. And I wanted to get to the Colosseum, and people wanted to get to that Colosseum. And I saw in Rome, that there is this horse-drawn carriage that takes people throughout the city in Rome, and there was a driver and there was a horse, and the horse had blinders on his eyes, and there were passengers in the carriage, and they were going to the Colosseum. It seemed important to everybody that they get to the Colosseum. And the horse was moving through traffic as cars and bicycles are whizzing past it. The horse is going forward, going towards the Colosseum, not being bothered whatsoever, because all he is looking at is straight ahead, and he has blinders on his side, and the driver of the carriage is in charge of where the horse goes, and he's taking that horse and the passengers to the Colosseum. I saw that in this vision. Then I saw other pedestrians, people walking in the city, and they had big blinders on their eyes too. They couldn't look to either side. They couldn't look behind them. All they could do is look in a narrow direction in front of them. And they were paralyzed. They were not moving. They were standing still. Some were looking this way. Some were looking that way. Some were looking all over the place. They just seemed to be at a standstill with these blinders. They didn't know where to go or how to move or which way to go. Then I saw, this sounds kind of funny. The best way that I could describe it is, it was a man dressed up like in a spandex suit. He was very agile. Maybe he's like Spider-Man. And he was bobbing and weaving and jumping over cars and going around obstacles and moving towards a direction. And I felt like maybe I said, I don't know if I was from the objective point of view, but hey, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to the Colosseum. And he was looking around. Nothing could stop him. He would leap over things. He'd go around things. He'd go under things. He was moving, and he was going towards that Colosseum. He was headed towards that Colosseum. And then the vision sort of stopped right there. I'll leave that up to you, or I'll leave that for another time to give some interpretations. But the point that I'm trying to make is that people are walking around this world with blinders. I'm not upset about the prevailing doctrine or the prevailing point of view of the rider on the white horse is the Antichrist. That doesn't upset me whatsoever. That's what I was taught in the 80s. That was taught way before then. This Bible, as I said, even says the first seal, the conqueror. Footnotes talk about him as being the Antichrist. It's a common thought. It's a common teaching, and it's accepted by many people because it's been taught in the 80s, and it was been taught before that, and people just continue to go on thinking about it. That's what seminaries taught. That's what theologians teach. That's what they've been talking about for decades. The rider on the white horse is the Antichrist. And you understand that if you are going with that, then you have pushed everything to the future. You're pushing everything. Nothing's going on right now. We're just waiting for the Antichrist to come on the scene. It's not my mission to debate. It's not my mission to defend. It's not my mission to convince. It's not my mission to argue. I'm not an apologetist. I can't even say the word. So I'm not an arguer. I'm not going to argue or try to convince something about the end times prophecy. My job is simply this: to be a Bible teacher and preacher, and leave the rest up to God, the Holy Spirit, and the individual who hears the word. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. And I'm expecting things to unfold in the months ahead. I'm seeing things happen right before my eyes, and I believe many others are as well. We are moving on a pathway. We are moving on a course where events are going to continue to fall like dominoes. Once you hit one domino, then it starts knocking down all the others in a sequence. Things may get tough. Things may be rough. Be strong. Be rapture ready. This is why I do these videos. This is why I spend time studying and doing these videos to the best of my ability to help people be rapture ready, rapture minded, to be thinking about what's going on right now. Draw close to God, closer than you've ever been before. Today is the day of salvation. And above all, keep looking up. Jesus Christ is coming soon. God bless you. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time as we continue to solve the prophetic puzzle.